All right, so after a little bit of time and it took a little bit of effort, we finally got Mike the chef onto the show. Um, and he went to Iceland, which is pretty freaking sweet. So let's give a round of applause for Mike the chef, everybody. Mike the chef, hey!
What's up? What's up?
What's up? So tell us about Iceland, man.
So hey, man, pretty accurate with how you portrayed it last time when I missed the call. No, but in all honesty, we didn't really go. We weren't in the city at all. The best part rather about Iceland was really exploring the country because that's really what Iceland has most to offer. And I can't tell you, just even the first day being there, because we had so much downtime between our landing and the person we were meeting. We landed there at 4 a.m.
Wow.
and we were waiting for somebody to land at 1 p.m. So we couldn't really go far from the airport, Keflavik, which is south of Reykjavik, which is the capital.
Cool.
So we got to explore a little bit and check out like the Blue Lagoon, and because the sun doesn't rise until around 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
You have all this time to do things before the sun rises, and it takes its sweet time. We even got to catch the sunrise and everything. I'm putting together too a video, just so you guys can have some type of, or whoever it wants to watch it has some type of visual connection to what I'm really talking about, because it's really captivating and majestic, just the landscape there. Iceland doesn't have any trees.
Okay.
It's mostly just lava fields and fields in general, so very low elevation type of terrain. So you can see just about as far as the eye can see.
Now, how long were
And
you
that's not
there
something.
for?
I was there for 10 days,
10
and I
days.
can't. It felt like 3 weeks because of how much we did. We went on so many excursions. I tell anybody right now, if you do travel to a different country, one of the most important things you can get is a car with unlimited miles. Drive everywhere,
Okay.
everywhere. The more people you're with, the better, especially considering the fact that in Iceland gas is like 7.50 a gallon.
Holy
But
shit.
split 4 ways, I was only paying, whatever, $2 a gallon. So
Yeah.
it all worked out in the end, right?
That's
Um,
crazy. 750 in that
yeah,
range a
everything. Well,
gallon?
that's Iceland,
Right.
and that's only because everything's imported, and diesel's cheaper. So that was for diesel. There, all the cars are really high end.
Okay.
So for whatever reason, and so they only sell high octane gasoline.
Right. Now,
So
is
it's not
everything out
done.
there in like kilometers or is that all
Yeah, yeah.
still
It's Europe. Everything's kilometers. They're using the metric system. Everything was Celsius,
Okay.
but the temperature wasn't bad. Like I said, I mean, it was the landscape was absolutely beautiful because we got there in a time where there was just a little bit of snow on the ground,
Okay.
and then we ended up immediately once the person we were waiting for landed, we immediately went all the way east and we checked out the biggest glacier in all of Europe. If I could, I'd say the name of it, but there's no way I can pronounce it. They use a lot of consonants, so it's really hard to pronounce most of their language.
That's awesome.
But
So, did you
but
so as I
out,
made fun of in the other one, not to cut you off, but
yeah, no, it's good.
did you run into any like the locals, any of the local women or
Yeah,
anything like
everybody
that?
there speaks English.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's not. I mean, I guess there was chicks there as there would be anywhere, but
Right.
mostly it's tourism. They make so much money off of ecotourism. There was people from all over the world. Everybody spoke English there, even people who were born and raised there. It's pretty much if you're working in Iceland off the coast, or rather inland, you're going to have to know how to speak English because that's just how many people come to that country. Since there's people coming from all over the world to check it out, they use English as the medium,
Mm-hmm.
considering not many people are going to try to learn Icelandic and they're not going to try to pick up Chinese or Korean or Spanish for people. So they just use English.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. But so, what was probably the coolest thing that you did when you went to Iceland?
So by far, I mean, not by far. It's actually really hard because I can tell you right now, I enjoyed driving the whole time. I drove as much as I could. We were splitting it up between me and Jeremy because he likes driving too. But I mean, just getting in the car and going, you're pretty much following. I mean, so put it this way: there's 330,000 people
Okay.
in Iceland, and 70% of which live in the capital. So you can imagine how free range the roads are. I mean, these roads go on for miles and kilometers rather, and you might see one or two people. So you got all this. I mean, there's no traffic. So and all these roads are lined along amazing mountain ranges and glaciers, and there's volcanoes, and so you can see a lot just by traveling around, and it was really cool. But I would say a couple things that really stood out as like really awesome was definitely we went to this black sand beach with like some of the most aggressive Atlantic waves I've ever seen in my life. There's even a danger warning about them. 4 people have died because of how aggressive they are.
Jesus.
And it's rated supposedly to be one of the top 10 most beautiful beaches in the world to visit. And black sand is a really wild concept. I got a bunch of it too in bags just so I could share with people, but it's a wild concept to think you could pick up something that looks like soot or ash and your hands are completely clean. I mean, it's sand. It's just jet black sand, which is pretty cool, especially considering most people have only seen white sand their whole lives. And people from Iceland can't even believe it when they see a regular beach. They go, "Oh my God, this beach is made out of gold," you know?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's wild to them. But I would say another thing that really stood out amongst all the other things that we did was we checked out these lava tubes. Now, lava tubes were really, really cool because they were caves that were bored out from volcanoes erupting and the lava traveling underground.
Okay.
And these tubes have cathedral ceilings. We got to go explore one with like helmets and flashlights given by our tour guide for like $38, like the best thing we could have possibly done. And it went down like 35 meters, so over 100 feet beneath the Earth's surface. We went down to the ground, and there's these, massive ceilings and all these really cool stalactites and stalagmites and columns and things like that. And the tour guide was super educationally explained to us all these different aspects of lava and all the different minerals and metals that are inside of lava. And the fact that the tube was over 1 million years old of itself, he at one point had us all turn our lights off to sort of take it in. We're sitting there, all we can hear is dripping, and then he just, after like 2 minutes of just complete and total darkness and silence and just listening to the cave, he goes, "And it's been like this." He just kind of chimes in, blows my mind. He just goes, "It's been like this for millions of years." And you really have to be there to really feel the weight of how staggering that is. But it was really a cool experience.
That sounds amazing.
But again, I hate kind of picking out like what was best, because again, you should see the waterfalls there, and you will in the videos. I got a lot of the good waterfalls. I mean, there's minerals in the water that make it make it like baby blue water.
That's so cool, man. And then did you like now, what kind of car were you driving around in when you were out there?
Suzuki 4-wheeler, sick.
Oh yeah,
it was like a 2016, I think. It was a real nice.
Oh, you balled out a little bit, is what it sounds like.
Well, you can't really choose the car when you're renting one. You can just choose what kind of car it is.
It wasn't like Enterprise, right? That wasn't the company or anything like that, or was it like one that was out there? It was
called Sixt Drive.
Cool.
It was like SIXT Drive. It was just some company out in Europe, but all the cars there were really nice. I mean, the car itself, when we got it, had like, I don't know, 40,000 kilometers on it, 20,000 miles, not even.
That's awesome. So this is brand new. Now, what about nightlife? Was there any sweet nightlife that you did when you were out there?
Oh, the Northern Lights. That was really awesome. Again, another really, really cool thing that I couldn't get footage of because I didn't have a camera. I didn't have my professional camera with me. I didn't think I'd need it for whatever damn reason. But yeah, the Northern Lights were amazing. We didn't really like spend any time in the city because you can get nightlife no matter where you go on the planet. You can't really get what the terrain has to offer anywhere. You know what I mean? You can't go to Spain and see the Grand Canyon, for instance. So I guess they are known supposedly for their nightlife and their raves and all that. But
well, again, that makes me feel glad that you don't know what it's like, because
exactly. It's not really something I really care to do. Things are very expensive out there. The last thing you want to do is be caught up in the city, because we even checked out Reykjavik right before we went to our Airbnb. So the course of action was, once the person we were waiting to, who came from Ireland to meet us, we went right from Keflavik straight over to that glacier that's all the way on the southeast side of Iceland. And that was where we stayed for 2 days at a bed and breakfast, where we got to check out the glacier. and just drive along the mountainside and see all the glacial tongues and all this water spewing out. It's all coming from a glacier. And then after that, we stayed for the next 8 days, 9 days at 8 days, sorry, at the Airbnb, which had like a geothermal hot tub. It was just such a sick setup, and it was so worth it. It wasn't even that expensive.
That's so cool. That's so
Especially
cool.
when you're traveling with people, you split everything as many ways as there are people. So
yeah. My next question was like, how much do you think altogether you probably spent for the trip?
Well, the trip and the essentials. So what I'm telling you now is the plane ticket, the stay, and the car was $888. I did the math already for that. That's not including gas, groceries, and whatever the hell else you want to do. I can tell you my biggest mistake on this trip was, and my friends will laugh if they see this because they know I was so fucking salty about it. But it was $200 to go see an ice cave, right? That sounds awesome. The ice cave was a nice hole. It was like you could go in it, but it probably went in about like 30 meters, which again, I would not have paid $200 about. The best part about seeing the ice cave was actually getting to get, and if you ever Google Iceland trucks, these trucks look like they're built for hell. They're awesome. So that was like the coolest part about it was riding to it. And this lady had the little microphone on the intercom and was giving us all this history and all these facts about the glacier as we were approaching it on off-roading terrain. So that was awesome. But we get there and it goes, all right, we're looking at the head of it, and she goes, you feel free to explore. Make sure you keep your helmets on. And we're going to be leaving in about an hour and a half. And I was like, I already seen everything. You know what I mean? I was so salty about spending $200 for that. So don't ever see the ice caves. It's not worth it. Even on a sunny day, it would look really, really cool and all, but $200 is still not worth it. Because I was thinking it was going to, if you've ever been in a cave, you know that a cave goes in, there's these, cathedral ceilings inside of it. You're totally set back by how amazing it all looks, but overall it was just not worth it. And then at the end, she was nice enough, not that we weren't salty enough already, or that I wasn't salty enough already. She gave us all a souvenir of a little jar of salt.
Aww. now you can be salty forever.
It's so funny because you're looking at the faces of like the parents who are bringing all these kids, and then you see their faces on the way back, and they're like $200.
That's what they're all thinking. They're like, we just got effed out of $200.
You're right. It's harsh, man. It's freaking harsh. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Where did Mike the chef just decided? Oh, okay, here he is.
I'm back.
Just randomly.
But yeah, dude, it was if you ever get a chance, if anybody ever gets a chance, go to Iceland. Really, I mean, most of this audience is probably on the East Coast anyways. You got better access than anywhere else in the world to go. And from Iceland, a little fun fact as well, you can fly anywhere else in Europe for like $50 to $70.
That's it?
Yeah.
So they're like the hub, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. You go there, you fly like WOW International. They all of a sudden have all these. I think the only place they don't go to is Portugal.
Gotcha. All right, well, Mike, the chef, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to let you go, but I'm glad that you had a great trip, man. Sounds like
man. And like I said, I'll have a video out so you can have something if you wanna show some people.
Oh, absolutely.
As soon as to sort of connect what I had to say to a visual image.
Absolutely. As soon as you post it, we'll I'll share it for all the peeps because
Yeah, man.
This trip is definitely awesome. All right, bud. I'll talk to you later, and Ruru says she'll see you at the birthday.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
All right.
I'll see you, man.
Talk to you, man.
Take care, dude. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too, bud.